Do you want to play a game? And I'm not talking about the kind from Saw. This is a different kind of game. Let's get into it. Hey, welcome back to my channel. Hope everyone's doing well out there. And today we're going to play a little game. Not the kind from the Saw franchise, a very different kind of game. And we're going to talk about 1997's The Game, directed by David Fincher. This film came out September 12th of 1997. It's rated R. It's 2 hours and 9 minutes long, had a $50 million budget, and upon release it made 48 in America and 109 worldwide. So it did make some money, but it wasn't a huge hit like Seven was 2 years earlier. Fincher was just coming off of Seven theatrical films anyway. He did some music videos in between that. He actually planned on shooting The Game first, but Brad Pitt had become available, so he went and did Seven first, and he did this 2 years later. And then 2 years after this film, he did Fight Club, which I love that film as well, and I'll do a review for that sometime down the line. Now in this film, we have Michael Douglas as Nicholas Van Orton. He plays this very wealthy man. He's a bank fund manager, and he lives in this big mansion, the family mansion by himself in San Francisco, and he has a live-in maid who lives in a like a guest house on the property. And his brother is played by Sean Penn. His name is Conrad in the film, and Deborah Karen Unger plays Christine. She works for this, well, we come find out later on. This will be a spoiler review. This movie came out in '97. I'm not going to spoil the whole thing, but I'm going to talk about spoilers, let's be honest. And this film is pretty much, Michael Douglas's character is somebody who's very wealthy, very smart, but he likes to be in control of every aspect of his life. And his life is all about the business, and that's all he cares about. It's all he lives for at this point. And we see little flashbacks to his childhood, and we come to realize as the film goes on that he's about to turn 48, so everybody keeps talking about his birthday's coming up. And we come to find out that his father committed suicide on his 48th birthday, and that Nicholas witnessed it at the house. His father was up on the roof. Nicholas saw him, and he jumped off the other side and killed himself. And people are kind of a little bit concerned about Nicholas, that he might follow in the same footsteps. And we see a couple business meetings with Nicholas, and then he has this lunch with his brother Conrad, who he hadn't seen in a long time. We get through their interactions, we come to find out that Conrad had had some issues in the past with substance abuse. I think he says he was on meth for a little while, and he had some mental problems, but he's gotten better. He's gone to therapy. He's sober. And he feels good, he tells his brother. And he said, I got something for you for your birthday I wanted to do. And he gives him this card that says CRS on it, Consumer Recreational Services. And he goes, you got to call this, you call this number, they'll bring you in, and then they're gonna have this game for you. And eventually Nicholas goes. He goes to this office because he's seen it in this one building downtown San Francisco. That's the other thing. They do a nice job of using real locations throughout San Francisco. Me and my wife had been to San Francisco about 10 years ago, and we saw a lot of the same locations that they show in this film. And we see Nicholas goes in this office, and they have him go through all these tests, psychological tests, physical tests, and they say it's all just part of it so we know you can handle the game. And he goes, what's this game about? And they won't give him any information about what this game is or what it entails. No information whatsoever. They're very vague. And he leaves, and they kind of tell him they're not gonna let him participate in the game. But then the game starts. He goes home and he finds this clown in his driveway, and he has this key. Another night, his house gets broken into and graffitied, and weird things start to happen. He has this dinner, and this waitress, played by Deborah Karen Unger, Christine, spills his drink on him, and she gets fired through this little argument with her boss, and she leaves, but Nicholas follows her, and all of a sudden the weirdness starts happening. Different things start happening. I don't want to go into it at all. And basically, at one point, Nicholas gets kidnapped. Well, he gets drugged, and he wakes up in this crypt in Mexico. And at this point in the game, Nicholas has no money. He has to make his way back across the border and back to San Francisco, which he does. And it humbles him, and you can see it. Michael Douglas does go through a character arc during this film, and at the end, it's very satisfying character-wise about what the journey this character takes to get. At the end, he's more humbled, realizes he hasn't been really living life. He's been worrying about the wrong things in life. And at the end of the film, he's basically on the rooftop holding Christine at gunpoint because he knows she works for CRS. And he takes the guy who signed him up, he realizes, is an actor. he sees an advertisement on TV for his headache medicine, and he finds him at the zoo with his kids, and he takes him by gunpoint to the building where CRS is now. They've already moved out of the building they were in because he can't find their offices anymore. And they walk into this lunchroom, and there's Christine, and there's all these people he's seen over the last couple days that have messed with him or seen him on the street or kind of set him up for this game. And he takes Christine up to the rooftop with his gun, and they act like they're worried about this. But then she tries to convince him it's just a game. Conrad's on the other side of his door. There's people waiting for you. We're going to have a big party and a big celebration. And Conrad comes out, busting through the door, and Nick shoots him with a gun. And when he realizes what he did, he goes to the roof edge and he jumps off. And he flies down through the glass in his ballroom in his hotel and lands on his airbag. And he realizes, Conrad comes in, everybody claps, and he realizes it was part of the game. And we kind of have a happy ending. At the end of the film, Nicholas realizes that he has to start living life and not just living for the business. And it is a nice character arc, no doubt. And I really like this film before I'm about to criticize it a little bit. I think it's a classic. I think it's a really well done thriller. It's smart. It's impeccably shot by Fincher. It's well acted throughout. Here's my only problem with this film, or one of the few. It's one of the problems that I always had a little bit with this film. There's too many convenient things that happen throughout this film for it to end up the way it ends up, especially at the end of the film. I get this company is top of the line and they know what they're doing to set every little thing in motion. They did psychological tests to figure out what kind of personality he is, what he's likely to do, what he's most not likely to do. But at the end of the film, when Conrad comes out, there was no guarantee that he was going to shoot him, nor was there any guarantee he was going to jump off the roof the way it happened. Now, the guy that signed him up that's on the roof when Conrad gets shot does say to him after they get him off the airbag that I'm glad you jumped because it was my job to push you off the roof if you didn't jump. Now that explains that, but they had no idea he was going to shoot Conrad or some of the other things that happened during the film. I know it seems like a minor complaint, but there is a lot of convenient things that have to happen for us to get the ending that we get. But it doesn't mean this film still isn't fun as hell. It's a very well done thriller by far. I mean, it's Fincher. I mean, Fincher's one of our best directors at this point. Now, doing a little research, it seemed like Fincher had a hard time with the production, the executives at Polygram who were distributing this film. He was arguing with them throughout production, and he was never happy with the third act. If you read interviews with Fincher, he wasn't happy with this film. I think it's really well done thriller, but as we all know, Fincher is a perfectionist when it comes to these types of things. I still think this is a pretty kick-ass thriller, though, and I think it is a classic of the genre. I would give The Game 8.75 out of 10. Yes, 8.75 out of 10 for The Game. Have you ever seen this film? Leave a comment down below. Let me know. Hit the thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button. Share this video. I greatly would appreciate that. I'll be back at the end of the week with Wrong Turn because the reboot's coming out in a couple weeks on VOD. So to get ready for that, I'm going to do a review for Wrong Turn. Until then, I hope everyone's doing well out there, and I'll see you soon. Bye.